Baruch Hashem, I was zeicher, I was married to be the student and continue to be the student of many, many great gedolim. And I have to say that all of them really taught me the same thing. All of them taught me many things, but there was one thing that they all taught me, which was so critical, which was so important, which was so fundamental, that I feel I really must talk about it, especially in light of what's transpiring in today's world and looking around and seeing it become more and more acute. I really feel it's incumbent on me to address this in a very passionate manner. And that's the fact that one of the major differences between society today and society 40, 50, 60 years ago is the level of caring that people show for each other. Shlomo Rabbi used to tell me that he would meet one of his friends that he went to yeshiva with, and it would be Yedidus. The word Yedidus comes from Yad Yad, two hands together. There would be real Yedidus, real caring, real connection with each other. And it's not so simple to find that today. That level of true caring, connection, warmth. And you might find it on the outside, but to find it on the inside is very rare. My brother used to tell my wife, if people send you a cake when you make a simcha, you should be happy. But that real deep connection, it's very hard to find. And the main reason for that is because society has become very goal-oriented. And as we said here many times, the reason is because the prevalent outlook in the world for acts of kindness is to do them to make the world a better place for me to live in. What you don't like, don't do unto other people. This is the motivation for acts of kindness. And it's such a fundamental error. It's so antithetical to the entire Jewish religion, and we don't even realize it. And we do lots and lots of kindness and acts. We feel good about ourselves, and we're really very far from where we're meant to be. Dovid Cohen said that this is the fundamental point which is lacking in today's society. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says, what can a person do to be saved from the Chevli Moshiach? This asik b'torah gemilas chasadim, and gemilas chasadim means the constant awareness of other people. Right? Every single interaction that you have with another person, think about how to make them feel really, really good. And this was the attribute of all the Gedolim. And this is the attribute of Klal Yisrael. And this is what is so missing in today's society. And if we don't develop it, we're headed for a very, very not good place. As I mentioned recently, so many cases of suicide in the past few weeks. And all of them have one thing in common. They feel estranged. They feel lonely. They feel pain. We have to realize how much pain people are in. People are suffering. They're suffering Yisurim of Gehenna. And people don't know about it. They don't know about it because they're not connected, because we're not connected with other people. And it's not our fault. I'm not chas v'shalom coming to criticize or give mussar to anybody. I'm just coming to state a reality, which my Rabbi told me, which I look around and I see it. And I'm coming to try to create awareness of this. So all of us should work on this and to try to change the tide. Chazal tells us there's three midas that a Jew must have. Baishanim, Rachmanim, and Gomle Chasadim. I believe that that's the order. And the first thing is Baishanim, is sensitivity to Kedusha, holiness. To feel embarrassment is not the right translation. To feel awed by Kedusha, by holiness. That's the first attribute. The second attribute is Rachmanim. This feeling of compassion for other people, true compassion. To get into other people's shoes and to understand what they're going through. It's critical. And then Gomlei Chasadim. We can't be Gomlei Chasadim before first you're Rachmanim. If you're Gomel Chesed before Rachmanim, if you're doing acts of kindness before you're an empathetic person, then it's not really Chesed. In fact, it's the opposite of Chesed. Because you feel like you're doing good things when you're really just doing acts which make you feel good about yourself. And again, there's no criticism. This is just the reality of today's society, and this is what's going on. People are very goal-oriented. You go into a public place and you see everybody sitting there and typing their texts or whatever they're doing, and busy, busy, busy. Everyone's so busy. They're so busy that you could have a guy sitting next to you in shul, and a week later you hear that he killed himself. He didn't even know what was going on in his life. And this is something we have to really, really change. And it's nobody's fault. This is the way the world is. Chazal tell us that chesed lu'im chatas, about Christian kindness, that the status quo of the world is to do acts of kindness because we want to make the world a better place for us to live in. And it's such a fundamental error. It's such a fundamental error. I told someone this morning, there are opinions in the poskim that without bris milah, a person's not really fully Jewish. Right? I believe this is what Chazal are telling us. Without being Rachmanim and Gomlei Chasadim in that order, it's a question if you're from the Jewish seed. And as we see people more and more suffering to such a great extent that they can take their lives, and we see people going through so much pain, and unfortunately, a lot of us don't see it. But if you're a Rav, or maybe a social worker, or maybe other positions to hear what people are going through. People are going through Gehenna, which I don't mean, I'm not exaggerating. I was in touch with someone last night to ask him to do a certain chesed, and he originally agreed to do it, and then he kind of backed off. I said, you don't understand how much pain this person is. This person had lost a child in the last month, right? Had a miscarriage, his wife had a miscarriage last month. And then he lost his job, and then he lost this and this. Many Yisurim at the same time was suffering. And I reached out to someone to help him, and originally said yes. And then he said he doesn't have time. I said, this is so critical. I just don't feel people grasp what we're dealing with today. If you don't grasp it, then you can't help it. And Shlomo Zalman Auerbach and other Gedolim, but especially Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, every interaction he had was life-changing. Every time you spoke to him, you felt that this was somebody who really cared about you. And it was life-changing. And it changed people's lives. Every single interaction was complete caring about another Jew. And we're not going to be Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, but we can emulate his ways and try our best to be sensitive and caring about other people. And this says, promises Rav Dovid Cohen. This is Rav Dovid Cohen identified as the biggest problem today. And this is what we need to work on. And if we do this, we'll be Nitzal Michavli Moshiach. We're getting closer and closer. And the story is unfolding. Redemption is unfolding. And we want to be a part of it. And the more sensitive we are, the more we'll be a part of it. The more likely we'll be from that group of special Jews who are chosen to meet and to greet Moshiach. We should all have great siyata d'shmaya to grow in this area, to recognize its critical nature, and to come closer and closer to other Jews and to Hashem. Amen.